Can I ask what you're up to today?
We do pest control. So flying pest, pigeons.
Yeah.
So basically he would be here to fly around the square to reduce the numbers of the pigeons.
So this is Percy here.
This is Percy.
Can you tell me a little bit about the bond that you have with Percy?
Well, Percy lives at home with me. So obviously I am his food supply, his carer. So basically all that makes quite a happy bird, really.
Can I ask what you're up to today?
Looking for some things to make some hair decorations.
Some hair decoration?
Yeah, I thought there was a shop that used to sell bits here, but it seems to be gone.
Can you tell me a little bit about your kind of relationship with your hair?
Well, I feel as an African, we're not representing ourselves so well, generally speaking. So I love my hair, I love it natural, it makes my life easy, and it's nice to stand out, being yourself. I'm a jewellery designer and also a functional nutritionist. So I help people, show people how to use food as medicine. Yeah, that's my passion.
How did you get into that?
My son had cancer when he was 23. But even before that, I've always been into natural health, just trying to eat right, to stay healthy and anti-age. I'm 56. I'm not religious, but I believe in nature. And I feel that everything we need is in nature. And if we follow nature's example and nature's way of doing things, that we'll stay healthy. By giving ourselves things that are organic, things that our bodies can relate to, that there's a synergy with, we just work so much better than things that are man-made, made in a lab, been through plastic, through too much processing. We're natural, so it's best to keep things natural really. I went through a phase of being totally raw, vegan raw, vegetarian. Now I call myself a thrivetarian because I had adrenal fatigue. Part of it was when my son got sick and different things were going on. I got really stressed and the adrenals, cortisol, everything just went crazy. And I was tired, I was really not in a good space. And I found that the only thing that could help me that really worked, because I tried everything, I tried the coconut oil, tried it the plant-based. What worked for me was bone broth, which meant I had to go back to animal stuff. And so now I say I'm a thrivetarian, what works for me, and it's hard to put a label on anyone to say, be totally vegan, because it doesn't really work for everybody. But if you ask me what's the best way to eat, I would definitely say vegan. But depending on what your issues might be, what you're going through, sometimes you have to deviate. And I'm not going to be held ransom by philosophy.
I have this table with all these books about spirituality, and basically we're just trying to spread spiritual knowledge and then bring people closer to who they really are and find more peace and more love in their life.
So were you born into this kind of way of thinking? Or?
No. I wasn't born into this way of thinking. I just, some guy just stopped me in the street. I read the book and then I felt, I need to come and check this out. And then I went the next day, and then from there my life, everything changed. And many things were just pulling into its right places. And now I'm here.
So are you...
live, huh?
Are you more, is your life more peaceful now?
Yeah, much more peaceful, much better.
What in life makes you most happy?
My job at the moment. It's probably the best part of my life at the moment. But I mean, not being funny, you wake up in the morning and you come to work with this guy. Who would not be happy?
And what, on the reverse side, what brings you the most unhappiness?
Oh God, at the moment, my debt. So, working as I do, kind of evens that out, I suppose.
So Percy doesn't pay the bills for you?
Percy does. But obviously, before doing this and before working in their office, I had built up quite a lot of debt.
Do you feel, can you really sense Percy's mood when you're out and about?
Yeah, he's quite vocal and his body language says a lot at times.
What do you think he thinks about me right now?
You're quite close to him and he wants to know what that fluffy thing is up there, whether it's edible or not.
He wants my microphone for dinner.
You have to be in touch with your spirit, I feel, because that's what talks to you. That feeling in your stomach when you're looking for something and you just think, take this right turn that makes no sense. That's your spirit talking to you, I feel. Some people call it intuition. So yeah,
Can you give me an example in your life where your intuition has helped you?
My son, when he was ill, I just knew something was wrong. I just knew, and he wasn't listening to me. If he ever sees this, he'll kill me. He wasn't listening to me, but I could just tell something wasn't right, and so I had to be wily as a mother to get him to come and see my naturopath, and that's when we found out that he had cancer of the liver. So my intuition there, I think, helped save his life. We did it the natural way. We didn't go the allopathic route. We did it all by cleansing, eating right, and using herbs as well. So my intuition there. Also in relationships, thank God, not always, but yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking about your son again, so you say your intuition meant that you found his cancer, but you didn't go to...
Well, I didn't directly. I just knew something wasn't right. And so I went to my naturopath, the person who's trained me, and he did some tests, he did some scans and that, and he found it. It took a long time. He had to dig and dig because it was in the very, very early stages, thank God. So
you didn't go down any conventional medicine routes?
No.
No.
Because that's what got him ill in the first place, because he had athlete's foot because he was an athlete, and he wasn't drying in between his toes properly when he'd have a shower. So, you can get athlete's foot like that. That's a fungus. If you do enough research, you'll find that fungus and cancer, they're synergistic. There's a relationship between the two. So when he had that for 6-7 years and it wasn't going away, and he was taking antibiotics at the doctors all the time, that attacked his liver. Those chemicals, those drugs, they really take an effect on the liver because the liver's responsible for ameliorating toxins.
Did you feel at any point concern, perhaps, that you hadn't made the right decision to not go down the conventional?
No, because I let him make the choice because he was 23. So I couldn't make that choice for him. So he made the choice for himself. And because he'd been going down the conventional medical route, and they were seeing that something was wrong, but weren't really being as proactive as they could have been, just more antibiotics. So he lost faith in them. You can't make that decision for anyone, really, especially if they see themselves as an adult, and he was.
It's my mother around the neck of your coat. Oh, you look tired. You've had Calpol, haven't you?
What is the key to happiness?
Swells. Trees. Him. With mates.
Do you ever feel guilty for killing the pigeons?
No. There are so many of them. I know that sounds awful, but there are so many of them. They carry so much disease, respiratory problems to people, salmonella in their feces. So you can imagine they poop on the floor and then they walk around on the tables. People are sitting there eating. So keeping the numbers down, I think we're doing a good thing.
So you can love a bird, but look at another one in a different way.
Yes, but I think that's the same with anything, isn't it? Any animal. I've got horses at home. In some countries, they're used for meat. I love my horse to bits, and I wouldn't even think about having it sitting on my plate. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's the same sort of theory there.
Do you feel a different connection with Percy than you would with your horse?
No. Well, yes, in a way, because obviously Percy is work, and as much as I consider him a pet and love him to bits, he pays my bills, whereas my horse costs me money.
If you could you summarise perhaps what the transformation is?
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that knowing more who I am and also seeing more how my mind acts, so being more peaceful and being more withdrawn from my mind, all these crazy things happening, better relationships with people, and also experiencing more love, more spiritual emotions, because we're all looking for spiritual emotions like that, not this temporary happiness. Sometimes you're happy, next day you're not so happy. Our thinking is limited, so we all make mistakes. Our senses are limited, like this. We cannot rely on our own thinking, or also on others. We need to go beyond that.
Do you feel that maybe developing a philosophy that's on a thought basis is leading you down the path of more thinking?
Well, at first, we need to use our mind in a way that brings us closer to the truth, like this. But eventually, this knowledge, this understanding is revealed within the heart. So it's not like, you study history and then this is the mind, and you've heavy. When you try to learn for an exam, your mind is like too much. But spiritual knowledge is different because although you might read it and you might know in the mind, but then realizing it within the heart and acting on it is a different story. It's like a map. You need a map, you know, whatever we're going. But eventually it goes from, you know, within, you feel that. And when we have knowledge, then only then can we make a different decision. If we don't know what we're doing, then we keep going. We keep doing whatever, even if it's not good for us. So we need spiritual knowledge.
Are you at peace in your life?
I still have troubles in the mind, but way less than before. Way less. I can't say I'm there, you know, like I'm peaceful every day, you know, especially when you live in London. But I can see more and more at peace.
Do you spend your time meditating and in the temple, or do you do something completely different in your life as well?
Yeah, now just mainly focus on reading and then practicing meditation and putting this into practice. Why should I go for something that's not as good, you know, lower taste if I'm experiencing something better?
So you don't have any hobbies?
Well, yeah, I play music also, but then it's related to meditation. Like that.
Can you think of one moment in your life that's brought you the most happiness?
My children. My children. The most headache and the most grief, but my children.
Why is that?
Well, they test you. They test you in so many ways, but the benefits that you get, the pluses that you get for all the difficulties that you might endure are so worth it. Love, really, it's love. That's the best thing.
Yeah. Do you think there's enough love in this world? Or?
No.
No.
No. Well, put it this way, I think there is, but it's not allowed to flourish. I think that, you know, because we're told to be hard, or we're encouraged to be hard, we're encouraged not to be ourselves, not to say how we feel, to hide how we feel, to be ashamed of our feelings. The love that's there doesn't get the chance to come out. And I just feel that me as an African woman, as a black person, it's horrible. It can be really horrible. You have to really hold on to your spirit, who you know you are as a human being, to survive. Because, you know, you walk in a shop, they follow you. You know, some of the, you know, you brush past someone, they check their bag. You know, that kind of nonsense. If you're not strong, it can destroy you, and you see it happen.
Have you experienced a lot of racism in London?
Yeah, it's you know, it's a reflection of society, and London is quite a hubbub. So yeah, unfortunately, hate to say it, but yeah.
Do you think that's getting better or worse?
In some instances, it's getting better with youngsters in some ways, because youngsters are a bit more what's the word? They're more open to just experimenting, just taking people at face value. But let their parents get involved in that, and then the problems start. And let politics get involved in that, and then the problems start. I think if you leave people to their own devices, which is very hard because we're so influenced by society, if you leave people to their own devices and their heart, if they've not been contaminated, which is rare, yeah, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of love around, but not enough on the surface.
What's the key to happiness?
Love. Love. Definitely.